Well, convicted felons are now fighting fires in New York City. The New York Post reports that in a bid to promote diversity, 9 ex-felons, including one who served time for gun possession, no problem, are some of the newest members of the world's most famous fire department. Is that okay with you? And is it just a taste of what may be in store for many big city police departments under the reforms now underway? Joining us now is Howard Safer, who was formerly the commissioner of both the NYPD and the FDNY, uniquely placed to assess this. Commissioner, it's great to see you tonight. So this New York Post report, I know that you saw, said that in an effort to change the complexion of the fire department for reasons that no one ever really explained, but we need to do this is the idea, they needed to hire felons, including one who'd done time for gun possession. I mean, that's got to discredit, to some extent, the fire department, no? What do you think of that?
I think it's a bad policy. I'm all for redemption, but the fact is, if somebody's committed a felony, it's a flaw in their character. And the police and fire departments are some of the most honorable professions in the world. And my view is, if you committed a felony, you should certainly be very last in line behind people who did not commit felonies to join the department. Lowering standards is the wrong message, especially in emergency services where lives are at stake.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, it's not a matter of redemption. Of course, everyone believes in it. And if you want to become an Episcopal priest or an alcohol counselor or whatever, there's a lot of things you can do as a former felon, for sure. But this is going to come to police departments, is it not? Such is the federal pressure to diversify police departments that standards have to change, don't they?
Well, I don't think it's going to happen under a Trump administration. The fact is that under the Obama administration, there's been a war on police. There's been a war on emergency services. And under a Trump administration, you're going to see quite the opposite. As long as he has an advisor like Rudy Giuliani, you're going to see standards kept up and not what's happened for the last 8 years.
So we are seeing, it appears, a rise in violent crime in a lot of big American cities. And the left has said, the president, I believe, has said, that is not true. Don't believe your eyes. That's not actually happening. What's your assessment? Are cities getting more dangerous?
Well, if you look at FBI statistics, there has been a rise in crime over the last 2 years, especially in violent crime. And more importantly, the Obama administration has ignored the big issue in this country, which is drug overdose deaths. Last year, there will be more drug overdose deaths than people killed by guns or automobile accidents. That's a disgrace. We need to go after drug companies. We need to go after drug traffickers. And what's happened in the past year or so is some of the best federal law enforcement people have left because they've been forced out by this administration.
So why is that? I mean, you served in New York at the height of the crack epidemic. I remember it. And people acknowledged that it was a crisis. And they said, look, it's destroying our cities. People are dying. Children are being affected in horrible ways. And all resources were brought to bear on that. And actually, it kind of worked. And yet rural America is being devastated. There are some states in New England where, as you just pointed out, that's the leading cause of death for young people. And we seem to be sitting passively by. Why?
Crime reduction has not been a priority for the past 8 years for this administration. More of a priority has been going after, in quotes, rogue departments and rogue police officers, when the truth is that 99.9% of police officers and police departments do their job well. The #1 civil right is to be free from harm, not to go after police officers.
So if you're coming in as the new president and you're Donald Trump, what's the single most important thing you can do to restore order to the public spaces in this country?
You have to prioritize crime, you have to give resources to state and local departments, and you have to appoint people who know what they're doing and who understand how to reduce crime. The #1 job of police departments should be to reduce crime. You know, when we had that tragedy in Dallas, Chief Brown at the time said, you ask too much of police departments to be social workers. We need to protect the public. And the only people who should be afraid of police officers are criminals.
The only job of the police department is to reduce crime. Thank you for bringing it back to first principles and reminding us of that. Commissioner, it's great to see you tonight. Howard Safer joining us live.
Good to be with you, Tucker.